let's move on to the next question. How do I hire without creating more work for me? Now, this is a really common one that I get. People want to delegate. They know they need to delegate to free up their time, but delegating takes time. It takes time to get to know someone and to train them in your process and to find the right person. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to speed up that process, how to make it as quick as possible. And before I do that, I want to explain the economics, the math of hiring. Realistically, when you hire someone, in the first week, you're going to spend time onboarding. It might only take half an hour. It might take 3 hours. It depends on the role that you're onboarding for. It might take longer than that. Then, over the next couple of weeks, you're going to continue to onboard, but you're also starting to save time, and it's starting to even out. The amount of stuff that you've handed over, the time that you've saved from that is the same as or better than the time that you've spent onboarding. Then after that third week, by the end of the month, you're saving way more time than you're spending delegating. So from the like pre-hiring perspective, you've got this onboarding in front of you and you're like, wow, this is going to take a long time. But from the perspective of a month later, suddenly you've freed up 5, 10 hours a week of your time, 20 hours a week, depending on how much you're hiring for. You've saved up a big chunk, and that chunk keeps applying week after week after week. And you look back on those first few weeks and you think, wow, that was totally worth it. So I highly recommend finding a moment in the life cycle of your business where you can carve out a bit of time to allocate time specifically just for onboarding, because the savings are so much better than the cost of hiring, especially when you do it the right way from the beginning. Now, let's talk about how to save time when hiring. The first thing is, don't hire someone who has zero experience. Hire someone who has experience working in your industry, doing the work that you need to outsource for, because they already know a lot about what needs to be done, and they'll know things about what needs to be done that you hadn't even considered. They're going to help you make life a lot easier. So hire people with experience. Secondly, cover all the practical stuff in one session. I have a checklist of everything to cover when you're onboarding a staff member, which I'm going to share with this teaching, and just get ready, like get through all that stuff. The reason why I recommend getting it all done in the first week is because if you don't, the staff member is going to hit friction in future weeks, and it's going to prevent them from working, and you're probably going to need to stop what you're doing and unblock them, which can be a bit of a hassle. So if you just dedicate a block of time right at the start to get all that done, then that staff member is free to take action, and you're not going to be needing to worry about them as much in the coming weeks. Third one is staged handover. Start by giving them really easy stuff. Let them show you that they can do it. Let them prove to you that they've got the skill. Then move into the more complex stuff, and then move into the really challenging stuff. Like piece it out by level of challenge. Because when they're doing the easy stuff, they're going to learn your style. They're going to learn how you work and how you like to be worked with. And that's going to make the more complex stuff a lot easier to pick up later down the track. Third one, weekly check-in meetings. I'm a big fan of weekly check-in meetings. The reason why is because I find sometimes with staff, they're constantly messaging me, and I'm having to take time out of my day to answer their questions, which scatters me. So with staff, what I'll typically say is, anything that's urgent, message me and I'll unblock you. But anything that can wait, bring to a team meeting. And then I'm in that team meeting, I'm fully focused, I'm fully present, I'm fully available, I'm getting through all of their questions in one hit, and then I can end that meeting, put that aspect of the work outside of my head, and fully focus on the thing that's right in front of me. This helps my focus, it helps my attention, it makes me less drained at the end of the day. And lastly, let them take the lead in their area of mastery. When I first started hiring, I would micromanage, essentially. I'd be spelling out every task in such extraordinary amounts of detail that no one could possibly make a mistake. But I was spending so much time delegating that it was annoying. And then I started easing up on my documentation and going a little bit lighter, matching the level of documentation to the staff member and giving them an opportunity to surprise me. Let's see if I can spend 15 minutes delegating a task rather than an hour and see how they go. And maybe they make a couple of mistakes, but it's only going to take me 10 minutes to teach them not to make those mistakes. And then I spent 15 minutes and then 10 minutes, so less than half an hour, instead of spending a whole hour right at the beginning. Give them the opportunity to show their skill. You don't need to hold their hand so tightly right from the beginning. Cool. Okay. So those are my tips on how to save time when hiring. And this is something that I help my clients with. I help them onboard to ease that transition.